Well, being at home during this pandemic has given us a lot of time to think, perhaps about some things that we've been putting off, maybe even life insurance. We have Kyle Wingfield. He is the president of Finley Alexander Wealth Management. Welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to have you here because I know that you have a lot of important information for our viewers. First things first, how important is having life insurance right now?
I think life insurance is one of the most important things you can do. It's right up there with breathing. It's right up there with breathing. And I think when I think about what's happened to us and what we're in the middle of right now, we're in the middle of the pandemic, we're in the middle of quarantining. And of course, like you said, Elsa, coronavirus has allowed us to slow down and think. And where my brain went immediately was, no one ever thought at the beginning of 2020 that we would be doing this. But more importantly, think about those who lost loved ones to this horrible pandemic and this virus. And they, imagine this, next thing you know, you have symptoms. Next thing you know, you're in the hospital. Next thing you know, you're on a ventilator. Next thing you know, you're doing what we're doing right now, trying to say goodbye to your family. And then they can't even go to their funeral maybe because of what's going on. And my only thought was, gosh, I wonder if they owned life insurance.
Right, because you don't want them to have one more thing to worry about.
Yeah, correct. Because I mean, it's devastating to lose someone you love, but more importantly, to add to that devastation is the financial loss.
So we hear that everyone should have life insurance, but how many people actually have it?
Well, according to LIMRA, about 50% of America owns life insurance. So I look at it, I'll reverse that. Over half of the American households don't own life insurance, right?
Yeah, it's frightening when you think about that.
Yeah, it is. I think because no one ever thinks they're going to die today or die tomorrow, and no one ever thinks tragedy is going to hit home with them. And then, like most tragedies, they show up out of the blue. And are you prepared? Is your family prepared? I think life insurance is that one benefit that you can put in place for pennies on the dollar or nickels on the dollar, that if something were to happen, they can be taken care of. And that's what it's about.
And you sort of touched on this beforehand when we were talking too. Unemployment is at an all-time high. So a lot of times people were getting their life insurance through their employers, and that may or may not be the case right now.
That's correct. So most people secure life insurance through the group benefit at work. So as a result of that, if they're unemployed, well, the benefits may or may not be with them still. Typically, they'll lose that benefit as well. So my encouragement is you might want to go outside of that for something as vital as life insurance and try to get it on your own if you can.
And so how do you know where to start shopping for life insurance? What is the process? Sometimes I think just the idea seems very overwhelming. So people put it off and then they don't get to it. So let's simplify.
Okay, let's keep it simple, Elsa. Yeah. So the first thing is I'm gonna to one of your points where it becomes overwhelming. I think the overwhelming part of it is it might be where do I look? But I don't think that's it. I think it's a grim subject. It's like, okay, I'm going to go do this, and now I have to face the fact that I know this is real. I'm going to die one day, but I want to deal with it. So I think the first place you start is you want to find an expert. And let me tell you what, if you own a car, you got auto insurance, typically the person who helped you buy auto insurance could help you start to source some life insurance. If you know a financial planner or retirement planner who's an expert, ask them, say, hey, what's your background with life insurance? I'm looking to secure a certain amount. I don't know where to start. How much is enough? And they can start to answer those questions for you.
Okay. And then you also have some advice for people after they actually buy the life insurance. What do they need to keep in mind?
So when you buy life insurance, you have something called a beneficiary. I'm going to keep it simple. That's the person who's going to get the money when you're gone. Now, I think you need to make sure that on an annual basis, at least, that the people that you want to get the money are still that important to you. Okay, so let's talk about maybe you have a life partner and it didn't work out or they're no longer here, but they're the person still on the beneficiary line that's going to get your stuff. So what you might want to do is just go back and look and say, are these people still the same people I want to get my stuff? Right. And then do that not only with life insurance, but all your financial accounts. Because when you're gone, who's going to get them? And if you don't do that, guess who's going to get them by default?
Yeah, the person you don't want to.
Right, you don't want that to happen. Yeah.
That makes sense. So revisit that, make sure that everything is current in terms of those relationships and who is going to get your stuff. That makes sense. All right, where can we go for more information? Maybe if we want to even work with you just to figure this all out.
You can find us on the web at finleyalexander.com.
All right.
finleyalexander.com.
Perfect. All right. Kyle, thank you so much for that helpful information. And we'll be right back with more Midday Maryland right after this. Stay tuned.